All right, well, time to get into it. As you said, Clifford Hoad's Kings of the Sun, and I guess at the outset, Jeff, when we did hear that Cliff was going to put the band back together, of course they've been working, Clifford and Jeff, under the name of The Rich and Famous up on the Gold Coast. When we heard that Clifford was going to put together a new version of the Kings of the Sun, that was surprising in of itself. But the fact that they've come back with such a strong album, a great set of tunes and beautifully recorded, I think is the biggest surprise of the year in some ways. Yeah,
it's a killer rock record. And you told me about it before I'd had a chance to hear it. You really talked it up to me, but when I put it on, it lived up to everything you told me about it. It's just a great Australian rock record.
Clifford Hoad's Kings of the Sun from the album Rock Till You Die. And Jeff, we've got Clifford online. Clifford, how are you?
Night time comes and I'm ready to rock. Daytime comes and I'm sleeping. Who or what's at the end of the road? I don't care 'cause I'm peeking. That's 3RRR.
We've got our promo.
Yeah, there's the promo right there, Clifford. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm so happy that you're playing the record.
We love it.
Over the moon, mate, that someone still loves the classic Aussie rock sound.
Indeed. Now, listen, let's just go back a sec, Cliff, because, we were talking, Jeff and I were talking just off air about how you were working with The Rich and the Famous a couple of years ago. So where did the idea to put back together Kings of the Sun come from?
What it actually represented to me was a feeling like something was missing in my life and I wanted to continue with the music. And I suppose revisit the glory days of the King's sound, and it took such a long time for me to get to that realisation and how much value music had to me. And when I nearly cut my finger off, it all sort of stemmed from there. I realised that at the threat of it being taken away, I had to dig deep into my heart and start playing music again. And then I slowly started writing some songs, and it all sort of started falling into place. And what you have in your hands is a new CD. But it was a long, hard road. But just cutting it all to the quick, that's what happened.
Yep. Now, and in terms of getting the other guys in, I mean, Dave Talon obviously had been in the band Rollerball, and they'd worked with Mark Opitz a couple of years ago. How did you get the rest of the guys together?
Well, I've known the lead guitar player Quentin Elliott for a lot of years. He played the last few days, or the last year of the Kings when we did the Carrara concert with Kiss, and he was only a kid then, and he's always been someone who I've wanted to showcase his abilities and his talent, and what better way to do it, because he had such a fascination with the old rock sound, and he had all the heroes that we all love, and he just was speaking my language and has done for years, and he was there, he was available, he was hungry like myself, he had something to prove, and him and Dave Talon just blended beautifully together, because Dave's a seasoned pro, and he's just got a sound almost like Neil Young or something when he strums that guitar, and between him and Quentin there's sort of like a salt and pepper situation happening. It's just wonderful, and it almost sounds like they've been playing together for years.
Because obviously, Cliff, for the old Kings of the Sun fans, there is a big change with this record. You're not just drumming, you're singing as well. So if you just want to fill us in, obviously your brother Jeff, he's sort of given up music, or what's the story there?
Well, mate, I can't really speak for him. I really can't speak for him. I felt that I had to continue I couldn't wait round for anybody, and just gone. And he's got his family now, and he's putting his heart and soul into that. And I'm sure he'll get back into music. But I couldn't wait round any longer. I just felt like I was in a desperate state to play again, and therefore I had to step up to the plate and continue. And to do that, I had to find a singer, and I felt, well, who better than myself, really, even though at this late stage of my life, to take on or have the audacity to say I'm going to sing, which, I come under a lot of ridicule for it, and a lot of people doubted me, and people sort of thought, oh, you can't do that, and it's my life, and I just said I have to do this. It was something deep inside me that knew I could actually do it. I just needed to surround myself with really supportive people, and with the band, and unless you go it and you get that positivity, nothing's going to happen. You gotta have that around. If you're not getting it, you got to steer away from any negativity. So I had to shut my ears off to a lot of you can't do's, and especially this late in life, it just goes to show you that it's never too late to resurrect your career or your art or your sport or whatever it is, your love of things. And I just hope I represent that to people, not so much a voice. I don't have a great voice, but I tried my hardest to move forward, and I think what people, if anything, they'll hear my conviction and the love I put into those songs and the music.
We can hear it, Cliff. I was just wondering, in the studio, having to sing, did you have to get into a very different headspace to, as opposed to playing the drums? Was it a really different vibe for you?
It's quite shocking, actually, because when we were rehearsing, and we didn't rehearse for a long time, I wanted to make the album really quickly. Like, I used to hear about the Beatles making an album in 4 days, and the Stones, and I wanted to make an album where I couldn't afford to procrastinate, whether it was good or bad. I just went in there. And when I had the guys rehearsing the music, I was singing through my sister's little PA while we were rehearsing, and I couldn't really hear myself. And I was just listening to the guitars and how it was all going together. So when I got into the studio and had to sing, when my voice first came back, I was shocked, actually. I didn't like it. I just went, oh, my God, what have I done? And even the guys were sort of, I'd come out of the control room, they were sort of looking at me, and there was just silence, and I'd say, well, how'd that sound? And they go, yeah, it was okay. But funnily enough, it's taken me a good 3 months to get used to the sound of my own voice, and I don't know what the reaction is going to be, but someone had to do the singing, and it happened to be me. So that's what happened.
All right, we're speaking to Clifford Hoad from Kings of the Sun. Now, Clifford, has the band played live yet?
No, we were supposed to come down to Melbourne before the record, and I was trying to organise a gig at the Cherry Bar and here and there, and I made contact with a couple of old promotional guys, and they basically said, well, it's too big a risk. The vibe was, when no one's heard you sing, it's scary, replacing, we're used to seeing your brother out the front, and they were supposed to do a couple of gigs up here, warm-up gigs, and come straight down to Melbourne, and then the second drummer who's going to be playing in the band, he said to me, what's happening, Cliff, is I think you've got to prove yourself with a sound so people can be comfortable that it's actually happening and it's not a joke. And that's when a penny dropped that night, and I cancelled the shows that we were supposed to be doing, and I said, I've got to go straight into the studio. And that's what happened. And our guitar player, Dave from Rollerball, was out here from Switzerland, he came all the way out from Switzerland, and he only had a short little window of time, so I said, look, rather than go down there and play to 20 people, because I was nervous, and I said, we're going to have to make this record, and I'd had all the songs there, I'd written it, everything, because I was going to do a little tour and then make the record. It just swung around the opposite way. The pendulum went the other way. So hopefully people dig the record, and we can come down there and do some live shows.
Come to Rocktown.
Rocktown, Melbourne's the original rock town. That's right.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to see you down here, Cliff. Now, when is the album actually available, and when can people get their mitts on it?
Well, I've held off. I'm celebrating up here tonight. I've got a drink in my hand, and I'm celebrating the fact that I'd like to release it tonight, in lieu of this show. And I thought I'd get on there and speak to you guys. And how I'm going to release it is the release date is tonight. And what'll actually have to happen is if anyone wants, I'm going to put 2 free downloads up on my site, my website, so which will be Switchblade Knife and another song called Rock Pile off the album. And so you just got to go to the website and you get the 2 free downloads of those songs, and every week after that I'm going to give away another 2 songs up until the album's for free.
Wow.
So I'm going to give away the songs to whoever wants them, and all I really request is that people, if they get it and they like it, to share it with their friends, because I just want to get the music out. I know how hard it is. There's so much product out there. I'm not in a position to really do it any other way, but I feel that's how I want to do it. I just want to get the music out there and put this, get this thing moving.
And for me, Rock Pile is just the perfect song to launch this record. The rock came back today. That's the one line on this record that sums it all up for me, Cliff.
Mate, yeah, it's a strange line. Hey, actually, that's rock came back today. That's what happened. It hit me, it hit me so hard that rock, that sound that we've all got on the album, and, the other guys are just so adamant about a sound, or the essence of an Australian rock sound, the attitude, the way, it's been a way of life for all of us out here. So when we hear it, it represents who we are. And if it's gone and it's just a memory, and you've got to go back and you listen to your AC/DC albums and your Angels albums and your Tats albums and your Buffalo and whoever else you've loved, there's a sound in there that now the world is starting to embrace, thank God. And that's the sound I wanted to get on the record, and it's really quite hard. It's almost like making a horror movie or something. If you're a filmmaker, you've got to get all the elements right, and I think I've got them right. And I've got people telling me they can't stop playing the album, and that's how I feel about my old albums. I used to just play them back to back. When they'd finish, I'd start them again, and it's a hard thing to get people to do that. But I'm hearing some great criticisms of the new records don't give. They push you away rather than lure you in. And I think the best compliment I've had so far was from our ex-bass player, who's an American guy. He sent me, I sent him a CD, and he said he was stuck in LA traffic listening to it. And he said, Cliff, I needed this album, music that sounded like this again. He said, my ears, my soul, he said, I just needed to hear it. And that's sort of, I needed to make it, and he needed to hear it. I'm just hoping a lot of people out there, are similar.
Well, you've made a remarkable record. And I said, Clifford, a number of weeks ago, I think it's the best hard rock record out of this country in the last 25 years, and I'll stand by that comment. And bizarrely enough, you may not be aware of this, but at 9:15 tonight, I'm speaking to Dave Tice from Buffalo, because they're in town next Thursday night. Well,
you give him my love, because he's one of my favourite singers of all time. Him and John Fogerty, but Tice, as far as an Australian singer is concerned, for me, I've got all Buffalo albums. He is the greatest, and he's another person that really, he just had a sound that I actually saw him when I was about 14. I snuck into a beer garden up here in Surfers Paradise, and Buffalo came on, and Wellesley was in the band, and they were only a three-piece, and Tice was out the front. and he was doing sort of microphone tricks like Freddie Mercury eventually did, where he pulled the stick out of the microphone and spinning it round. He was showing the mic in the air, and there wasn't that many people there, and they were so loud and so raw. And I would have been about 14, and it just stuck. That gig stuck with me my entire life.
Yeah, they're the sort of things that, as you say, they do stick with you. Mate, we're going to hear another track from the album. Of course, the album that we're talking about is Clifford Hoad's Kings of the Sun, the album called Rock Till Ya Die. And Clifford, you mentioned the free downloads of a couple of songs. Of course, the website is www.kingsofthesunband.com.
Yep.
And you can find out all of the details there. Let's hope we do see the band here in Melbourne in the not too distant future.
Mate, at least in the new year.
Yep. Indeed.
Great to have you back, Cliff.
I tell you what, I want you to do me a favour. Just get Tice's address so I can send him the album.
All right, I'll do that for you.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for getting behind Australian rock. You're saving our lives, hey?
No worries, mate. Pleasure to catch up, and again, congrats on the album. We're going to hear the track called Hearts Ablaze, and we'll see you here in Melbourne in the not too distant future. Clifford Hoad, thanks very much.
Wonderful, Neil.